Any recommendations on carnivore as an ultra marathoner? 1 gram of carbs per minute ran is standard fueling on ultra marathon world. I'd love a video explaining this. Thanks. You're doing God's work, my friend. Oh, thanks, man. Look, a lot of people are proving this now. That there's a guy I'll be putting this episode out soon. This guy in Sydney. He's not a runner. He's never run a marathon, and he just decided to. But he's been, keto carnivore, for a decade now. Keto first, and then carnivore, and and he just said, look, I'm gonna run 5 marathons in 5 days without eating. So he ate Sunday night or Sunday, and then ran a marathon Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday he ran the Sydney marathon, and didn't eat the whole time, and then just ate, and he wasn't even really hungry after the Sydney marathon, and he sort of had 2 hamburger patties. You can do an ultra marathon on just your body fat on you. There's a lot of people that run these things fasted, and if you're fasting, you're in ketosis, you will run on your body's fat. We have weeks and weeks and weeks of energy available to us. Your refeeding is your fat. You have it on you. You've already done the eating. When you're in a ketogenic state, you're not running on the energy that you ate from the food you ate yesterday. You're running on the energy from the food you ate 2 weeks ago. So, you're fine. You're not going to have any issue. So you go on this and you just do a lot of high fat meat, you're going to be great. Professor Tim Noakes has actually shown this in human crossover trials in athletes for distance, endurance, as well as high performance, high intensity athletes. You get no loss of output for being in ketosis versus on a carb diet, because you make all the blood sugar, glycogen, and ketones that you need. And in fact, now you're running on ketones, it's even better. But with the added benefit that you never have to refuel and refeed. When you run out of glycogen, you're done, right? You have to keep sucking in sugar, right? Not the case when you're in ketosis. And so because you're running on your fat stores. Now, the other question is, which I was asked previously in an interview with a cyclist in Europe, which I didn't know the answer for. But I mean, I suspected it, but now it's confirmed that, what about, that glycogen refueling, that we can suck down sugar water and that, gets your blood sugar back pretty quickly. How fast is it? Can you do that faster? Is it slower from fat? Because we need to recover right away. We need to just continue this. Yes. So when you're in a ketogenic metabolism, you will make glycogen and blood sugar faster from your own fat than you will be able to convert it from carbs. First and foremost, you have to drink this stuff. You have to digest it. You have to absorb it. That takes time, right? But also the conversion of glucose into glycogen actually takes longer than our conversion from fat into glycogen. I didn't know that, but that's coming from Professor Laszlo Boros, who's a professor of medicine at UCLA and a biochemist, and runs professor of biochemistry and ran a biochemistry lab at UCLA, since retired, and now he's a professor over in Hungary, which is where he's originally from. And he was saying that there's less chemical steps to convert ketones and fat into glycogen. Who knew? Than glucose, but it's quicker, and it's also, you don't have to digest it and absorb it and drink it and carry it with you. So if you're doing an ultra marathon, you're going to run on your fat. If you really wanted to refuel, pemmican, 80-20 calories from fat to protein pemmican, and or even just like a squeezy bag full of tallow, grass-fed beef tallow, plenty of energy. But you'll have plenty of energy on you as well. So, but if you need to refeed, fat, pemmican, those sorts of things, that's what I would do. But you probably won't need it unless you're extraordinarily slim. This guy in Sydney, I couldn't imagine he was over 10% body fat. He said like 15. He looked way leaner than that. So 5 days, and then he felt fine. There's no problem. So yeah, check it out. And I think you'll find absolutely fantastic results with it. Okay, so Cam the Carnivore, thank you for the super chat. What do you think about fasting while on carnivore? Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think that you get most of the benefit of fasting just from from not eating the wrong things. And if you're just eating carnivore, I don't think you need to fast. You know, we don't really have studies showing like, well, okay, is it better to just not eat or just eat a carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet? We do have some studies showing fasting benefits certain medical outcomes. And I say, okay, can you get the same effect from just not eating carbs to being on a ketogenic diet? And they found like, yeah, actually you do get, pretty much the same results. So those are the sort of studies we have, but they have specific endpoints. You're not looking at which one's better, which one does it best. Just not eating or this, but they, if you reverse diabetes, you reverse diabetes in a similar period of time. So that at least for these specific endpoints, they're the same. Just not eating carbohydrates is just the same as not eating at all. And so I think that it's not something that you need to do. I think we're well equipped for it. Predators commonly don't get to eat every day. We did actually. We would scare a herd of mammoth over a cliff or bison over a cliff, crash and burn. We'd have food for the year. So in fact, we, in a lot of cases, especially during the megafauna, we had an abundance of food. And so I don't think we necessarily needed to fast, but I don't think it's something that's going to harm us, past a certain point. You can definitely hurt yourself, but, you go a few days, you didn't get a kill, you go a week or so, you didn't get a kill, fine. But, your body can handle that, but I don't think you have to do it. I certainly don't think you have to do it. No. So I think just eat fatty meat, be happy. Don't worry about it. In less than cancer, like people with cancer, specific medical things using, fasting as a therapeutic tool. We're using carnivore as a therapeutic tool too. It is a therapeutic intervention. It's not a diet. It's the basis of health. But other than that, just eat meat, be happy. Dean from X says, it's the first time I've seen you live on X. Yeah, I just sort of found that we could sort of do this now and link this all through StreamYard, which is kind of cool. So it pops up on X and YouTube and Instagram as well. So we have some people joining us on Instagram also, which is great. It's great to see everybody on here. Well, there's actually a question here on Instagram now that just popped over from Marcia Prodden. Can a pregnant woman be carnivorous without having to worry about vitamins? Humans are carnivores. So, for millions of years, we've just eaten meat while pregnant. And so, yes, you can definitely get all the nutrients you need for you and your baby on a carnivore diet. And especially if you include things like organs, like a bit of liver, kidney, heart, but most importantly, liver is going to have all those B vitamins and folates, B12 and things like that. They're really important for neural development. And so, yeah, you will definitely get everything. And there's thousands of people around the world now, in modern culture doing carnivore pregnancies. And, look at the Maasai and the Inuit and the Native Americans in the Great Plains up until 100 years ago, just eating meat the whole time. Very healthy, very strong, clearly got all their nutrients as well. So yes, you can definitely get all the nutrients you need for you and your baby on a purely high fat carnivore diet, especially if you include some organs. People coming to this again early on, almost always nutritionally deficient. Liver's your best friend in that case because it is a multivitamin. So you want that to help you catch up. You don't need too much because you can get too much of a good thing, and you can get hypervitaminosis or a bit, too much copper or other sorts of fat soluble vitamins or metals that come in them. But other than that, you do great. That they actually trend is after 4.7 years, they actually decrease their atherosclerosis and burden of disease. So that's huge. It's massive improvement. And I've seen people with sarcoidosis improve as well. And I think there are actually studies showing ketogenic diets help sarcoid, but don't quote me on that. But I've certainly seen people with sarcoid improve